Well, hello, everybody. Trucker Todd here. As you might have guessed, let me get everything up real quick. Man, um, we didn't get to do a video Thursday night. There's been a lot of stuff that's happened since then. The last 4 days have been terrible. And so tonight I'm going to tell y'all all about it, kind of catch up with y'all, seeing what's going on. Uh, don't know, because these are kind of the impromptu ones that are not on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Don't know how many people we'll have here tonight, but we'll just kind of play it by ear, see how it goes. Let me say hello to the channel members. We got 5 of them now. We got Robbie Ross, Ramon Otano, Adam Murley, Gary Cook, and Newman Attack. I appreciate all of y'all supporting the channel as you do. If any of you others would like to become channel members, hit that join button below the screen, and it'll have information about it. It's about $5 a month. Also, you'll see people do super stickers, super chats. If any of that kind of stuff interests you, there's a little $sign down by where you type your messages. You can click on that and get more information on that as well. Also, you can give this video a thumbs up. These are free things you can do that'll help the channel. Share this video out to your friends, family, other truck drivers. Kind of help us get the word out. And then make sure you're subscribed so that you receive notifications when these videos come out. So we'll get to your comments here in just a second. Kind of give people a few minutes to get in here. Let me kind of tell you about my week. I'm not sure how far back to really go, but well, hang on a second. Let me grab my deal here, and I'll give you a better rundown. Also, you might notice I'm not using my headset tonight. I'm using one of my microphones, so let me know how the sound is. DIY says the audio is terrible. Is that better or is that worse? It was showing good before I came on. Still, how about now? Is it better or worse? Okay, I'm going to turn these off, and I'm going to go back to my headset that everybody griped about. How about that? Is that better? Is that better? I've got my headset around here somewhere I can use if I have to. The same. Okay, I'm going to turn this off too. Is that better? We should have something now. Okay, good. I think we've got it fixed. I think we've got sound now. Boy, it never fails. I can talk on the phone 8 or 10 hours a day, and I go to do one of these shows, and everything just craps out. I don't know if it's my laptop or if it's something with these headsets. But anyway, that's a problem for another day. We got it going right now. We'll get to your comments here in just a second. Let me grab that deal I was originally trying to grab. Here it is. When my headsets quit working or never started working. So this has been, I'm going to tell y'all something earth shattering that you've probably never heard before, and it probably never occurred to you. But brokers lie, and they lie a lot. I mean, we've always thought that lawyers lie, that car salesmen lie, but brokers are the king of all liars. I had um, I had a load that I was delivering. I had picked it up in Kansas City. It was a load of lockers, like athletic lockers for a uh, field house, not a field house, a locker room for a college team in New Mexico. I showed up with the lockers. The guy had told me on Friday it's going to take about an hour to unload you. I get there on Monday. First of all, they had gave me the wrong address. Got that straightened out. Still delivered on time, and it ended up taking about 4 or 5 hours to get unloaded. I had booked up a load after that. It ended up making me about 2.5 hours late for it. But I got it loaded, had to run my tail off. And of course, no detention, no layover, none of that. And then I got this load that, well, let me just see where I want to talk about this at. I got this other load. It went to Amarillo, picked it up in Deming, went to the house, spent the night, and I got another load out of Lubbock going to Lawton, Oklahoma. Now, on that load, the broker says, hey, we put an appointment, but it's just kind of a guidance. They'll work you in whenever you get there. And I said, well, I'm going to be there tonight. Well, first of all, let me back up a little bit. I'm getting so excited, I'm not telling this story correctly. So I asked him, it was supposed to pick up the next day. I said, hey, I know the people over there. Is it all right if I go ahead and get loaded today? He said, yeah, let me call and ask him. He called, he never called me back. So I called him. Said, hey, this is Todd. If I run over there, can I go ahead and pick this load up today? He said, yeah, no problem. So I called the broker back after I got loaded. I said, hey, I was able to get that load today like I thought I would. I'm going to be there between 10 and midnight tonight. He said, all right, no problem. I'll let them know so they can work you in when you get there. I get over there, and the guard is a jerk. And I looked on the Google reviews, and a lot of people had the same opinion of him. He had been rude to a lot of drivers, difficult to deal with, combative even would be how I would describe him. And he said, we're going to work you in. It's going to be a while. I said, that's fine. And so I went out to the truck, ended up being there about 24 hours. But that's further in the story. The next morning, I called the broker. I said, hey, he didn't work me in last night. He said that, you got to stick to the appointment. He said, well, I'll get your appointment changed. He changed my appointment to 10 a.m., he said. So I waited till about 10:30 or 11. I went up there and said, hey, I got a 10 o'clock appointment, and they hadn't called me in yet. He looked on the deal. He goes, nope, you got a 9 p.m. appointment tonight. So I called the broker back. He's like, I don't know why it says that. It's 10 o'clock, 10 a.m. I'll call over there. I'll do this. I'll do that. We went through this all day long. Well, it ended up that night about 9:20. They started unloading me, and by 10:17, um, I was unloaded p.m. So I'd been there 23 hours and some change. And of course, that screwed up booking any loads that day. That was on a Friday. And any of you that's run the load board know you can't wait till 10 o'clock at night on Friday to start booking loads. So I tried to get something on Saturday morning, and I got something. The only load on there I could do, some of them were vented vans, stuff like that, going to California, loads I couldn't do. The only one on there I could do, I called, I negotiated a rate, we were good. They sent the carrier packet to SRO Logistics. Now, normally when a broker sends a carrier packet to SRO, I send them a message. I say, hey, that carrier packet that's coming across, it's mine, so that he doesn't have to waste time looking through all the trucks to see whose it might be. And no answer. So I waited about 45 minutes. I tried to call him. No answer. Left a voicemail. No answer. So I waited a little while longer. I called the broker. I said, hey, did he ever get you that carrier packet back? He said, no. He said, I've emailed him twice and tried to call him, said I can't get him either. I said, well, that's unusual. I said, usually he's Johnny on the spot. Within 5 or 10 minutes, he's got it done. And he said, well, I've got some more bad news. When we didn't hear back from him, we had to cover that load, so it's not even available now. And so I was beyond frustrated. I ain't going to lie. And, finally, a little while later, I think it was another hour later, SRO got with me. They said, hey, we sent that carrier packet back about 15 minutes after we got it. But for whatever reason, he wasn't receiving phone calls or text messages. And when he sent that packet back, the broker didn't get it either. I'm not prepared to say he's lying, but I am prepared to say the broker absolutely was lying, because I looked on the Google reviews. There was too many people that had a similar experience as mine. They had gone there. Broker told them, yeah, they'll unload you as soon as you get there or shortly thereafter. They'll work you in. And then they got there and were told, nope. And from the broker's perspective, he's trying to cover a load. It's Friday or a Thursday, I believe, when he and I talked. And, he's going to say what he's got to do to get it covered on his side. And I wish he had been honest with me, because A, I wouldn't have went and picked the load up early, and B, I could have spent one more night at the house. What I ended up having to do was go pick the load up, go back to my house, mow my yard, and then, which it's not big, it's an apartment size yard, mow my yard, and then go back to the truck and drive all night, or not all night, 4 hours or so over to the place. And I could have had one more night at the house and still delivered it on time. So extremely disappointed in the broker. Somebody asked me today on the phone, would this prevent me from working with this broker again? Not necessarily, but to quote Ronald Reagan, in the future, I'm going to trust but verify. I'm not going to take this particular broker at their word. There's definitely some trust issues now. And so what it's resulted in is me having basically 4 days of no productivity. And it's right here at the end of the month where it's really frustrating. I've still got to pay my $22.90. I've still got to pay my pickup payment. I've got quite a bit of bills to pay before the end of the month. And I sure didn't need all these setbacks. But on the other hand, that's trucking. It could have happened at any carrier, so it's not necessarily SRO's fault. It could have happened with any broker. but it could not have happened at a worse time. And so, if you've talked to me the last couple of days, my attitude's been pretty salty. I'm still not real happy about everything, just to be completely honest with you. I'm trying to find a way to explain it to myself that I won't continue to be upset, because it doesn't do any good to be upset. Nothing's going to change. But this is one of the many things wrong with trucking. And I don't want to focus on it too much tonight, but if what I would say is this, though, and this goes out to a lot of people that are even watching tonight. We've had a lot of people, I've been doing this channel 4.5 years. I've had a lot of people stab me in the back, lie to my face, things like that, betray me. And I think they think I'm dumb, or sometimes I don't know. Just because I don't say something doesn't mean I don't know. You know, Ronald Reagan, I just quoted him saying, "Trust but verify." They called him the Gipper. And a lot of people thought he was dumb, and they thought he could get over on them. And he always seemed to come out on top, just kind of like, I mean, I hate to get into politics, but kind of like Trump. People think he's dumb. They think he's arrogant. They think he can get over on him. And he keeps winning, and he keeps winning. And, you know, I think y'all have seen, especially the last 2 years, you've seen me overcome a whole lot of things. And, you know, the one thing I won't be able to overcome is if key people in my life betray me. I've said in several videos that I'm not a self-made man. A lot of people have helped me along the way to get to where I'm at, and I haven't arrived yet by far. I've still got a long way to go, but you know, I've got to be able to depend on certain things. I've got to be able to depend on my cellular service to do these videos, to contact brokers, things like this. I have officially made some changes there, and I'll have a video coming out this week telling you what I did, why I did it, and how you can do it too if you want to. And, you know, I've got to be able to depend on my carrier. This was one of those times where we couldn't reach each other, and hopefully that doesn't become a recurring theme. But in fairness to him, there's been times when he's tried to call me and he couldn't reach me either. That's just cellular phones and things like that. But it was a super frustrating last 4 days, and I'm glad it's over. And if y'all got any questions, put them in the comments. We'll jump back to them. I'm going to read the channel members again, since y'all probably didn't hear me. We got Robbie Ross, Ramon Otano, Adam Murley, Gary Cook, and Newman Attack. Appreciate y'all supporting the channel as you do. And now let's jump into some comments here. I'm assuming these earbuds sound better. I'm not seeing anybody say we don't have any complaints about the sound anymore. So I guess I'll just have to start using these in the videos. So what these headsets are the EKSA 30s. They sell them at truck stops. I got mine, did a review video on it. I believe there's a referral link in my deal that will get you a discount on them. If you go back and find that video, just type in EKSA 30 and my video should pop up, and you can pick you up one, or you can get them at any truck stop. They've been pretty good. The only thing I don't like about them is sometimes I wish they were a little louder. But other than that, they work great, and they work really good for videos like this. They don't actually go in your ear. They hover over your ear. And so I've been really blessed in that area. I've received a lot of free headsets in the past 4 years. And so as a result, I've got several good ones to choose from. Those Road Warriors are also really good. If these didn't sound good, I was using the RW2. I'll pull out the RW1 and we'll see how it sounds. But let's jump into some comments here. The first one in tonight was channel member and moderator Robbie Ross. Hello, friends, from a toasty summer day in Phoenix at the house. Leave out tomorrow morning from Garland for Garland, Texas. Well, there you go. That's a nice, good run across 10 and 20. We had thought we might cross paths, but because of all the delays here, I don't know where I'm headed next. I'm not. I was in Lawton, Oklahoma. I'm now in Elgin, Oklahoma, which is like 10 or 11 miles away. The Loves in Lawton was full, and so I had to find a place to park, and Elgin was the closest I could find. Gary Cook, channel member, good evening to all. I'm listening from home. Yes, sir. I've been talking to Gary some this week, and he's got some big changes coming in his life in the next few days. I'm looking forward to receiving updates from him and seeing how it goes. And channel member and moderator Robbie Ross wants to know where Gary lives. And Gary, channel member, says he lives in Montgomery, Illinois, west of Chicago. I got another friend, the guy that I bought that Volvo from. He lives, I can't remember the town, but it's on the outskirts of western Chicago as well. I need to give him a call. I hadn't talked to him lately. Green Star Logistics says, hi, Todd. Hello, Green Star. Thank you for being here. And Michael says, good afternoon. I'm still catching up. DIY Semi was letting me know the audio was terrible. Hopefully we've got that fixed now. I was asking for feedback, and Corey Oatley said it was the same, that it hadn't improved any. And Robbie Ross, channel member and moderator, says it sounded overmodulated. That's because I had a Connex board attached to it. And Michael said it still sounded the same. Channel member moderator Robbie Ross said it's a little clearer. Steve Given, hello, Trucker Todd. Hello, sir. Channel member moderator, see your mouth moving, no sound. There's a lot of people who would say that that's my best video ever if they couldn't hear me. Last Lap Logistics, no sound on my end. Good to have you here tonight, Last Lap. Hopefully you can hear me now. Nicholas Earl, what's up, Todd? No sound, man. Steve Given, sound check, please. Yeah, can I get a radio check? Radio check. Channel member moderator Robbie Ross, still nothing. Yeah, you can see it took me a little bit to get this situation under control. And Gary Cook, channel member, I see you talking, but no sound. Yeah, it took me a little bit to fix it. Canadian Trucker, hello, Todd. What's in the background? No sound. I honestly don't know what that is. It looks like the underside of a bridge or something like that. It just magically appeared in my laptop one day. I can change it. Let's see what else we got in here that we can put up there. I kind of like the way that looks. All right, there. I'm at my Airbnb now. Michael says, yep. Last Lap says we got sound. Channel member Gary Cook says, there you are. Here I am. Robbie Ross, channel member moderator, loud and clear. Good deal. Kid behind the wheel, I hadn't seen you in a while, man. How are you doing? He says, hey, man, hope you're doing well. Yes, sir. Thank you for being here. Gary Cook, channel member. So you're saying that the headset sounds better than this microphone, or this microphone sounds better? Steve Given, I can hear you now. Good deal. Glad you're here. And Racing Ray 28 moderator. Hey y'all, hope everyone is well. Yes sir, thank you for coming in tonight. We had some technical difficulties. We typically reserve the technical difficulties for Tuesday. We call it Technical Tuesday, but tonight nothing was working. I don't know if it was my laptop or my headset. I know my microphones I was trying to use, the battery was dead on one of them, and the other one people said they couldn't hear me on. I think I know what the problem is, and before I do my next video, we'll do some testing and see if we can figure it out. Steve Given, not all brokers are bad. Brokers in the north are good. Yeah, I don't even think this guy's bad. And let me be fair and balanced here. He's trying to get me some detention or layover. The girl that he's got to run it through was out of the office. He's going to talk to her tomorrow morning, and I'll let you know if they give me anything. But yeah, they're not going to be able to give me enough for making up for losing these days of running. Blue Smoke says, "Yep, we have sound. I am so glad to hear that." Robbie Ross, channel member and moderator. Hey Ray, good to see you. Yes, sir. Glad to have him in here tonight. The last few videos I've done, he's been busy or out of pocket and not been able to watch, and he's had to be a part of the replay gang. But we're glad to have him in here tonight. Steve Given, can you get your company to book your loads? No, everything here is self-dispatch. You pick your own loads, you negotiate your own rates. And quite frankly, even if they did offer an option to book my loads, I wouldn't want them to. I mean, I like to be the captain of my own ship. I'm going to paraphrase this comment to keep this channel monetized and to keep the advertisers happy. Was the broker's name called Full of Baloney? Should have been. The guy's super nice, and I think he knew, but calling him a liar definitely ain't going to help my cause. Gary Cook, channel member, was the broker accepted by Scott? Are you talking about the load I did where they lied to me, or are you talking about the one I booked where we were needing a carrier packet? The one I booked where they lied to me, it was a very large carrier that we use all the time. I'm not going to say their name on here, but just know that it's a very large carrier. If I said their name on here, anybody that's ever ran the spot market or load boards would know who I was talking about. Steve Given, a good company would at least pay you a minimum daily rate. Well, here's their side of it. I picked it up a day early, and so you know, it wouldn't have been there as quick as it was if I hadn't have picked it up a day early. Now, the flip to that is they told me I could and that I could still deliver it early. So yes, I did pick it up early, but it was with their blessing and condonement. And so they've got enough wiggle room. If they want to wiggle out of it, they can. And I'm sure that's what they'll do. But in my mind, I'm going to keep that in mind next time I book something and they have a load come up. I mean, the thing about being in the position I'm in is everything is my fault. And you say, well, how, Todd? He lied to you. Well, because I could have said, what's the name of the receiver before I signed the rate con? I could have ran a Google search real quick, read the reviews, and I would have known what I was getting myself into. I did not run a Google search on that company. Before I signed the rate con, I could have Googled the receiver, and I didn't do it. So there's enough blame to go around here, and I'm pretty upset, but we'll call it a learning a learning exercise. All right, folks, we got to skip ahead. We'll get right back to the comments, but Robbie Ross, channel member and moderator, just gifted 5 Trucker Todd LLC memberships. Thank you for that, Robbie Ross. I got to go to another screen, but I will see who the lucky 5 are. If my phone will cooperate. It looks like it went to Adam, and it went to Andrew Russell, P.U. Patel, Mark Ely, and Jay Leatherman. So congratulations to the 5 of you. You are now channel members. And thank you to Robbie Ross for doing that. I don't know why it didn't pop up. Let's get down here and find it and put it on screen. All right, let's see here. All right, we're going to get back to the comments. I appreciate that again, Robbie Ross. We've got the other shooter, Tom, here. I talked to you via email and thought we had a fairly good conversation. Yes, sir. I enjoyed talking to you. You got a lot of knowledge, a lot of experience, and I appreciate you being in here tonight. At some point, I may give you my phone number. I may do it tonight if I remember. So if you need to get a hold of me, you can. But yeah, I enjoyed talking to you and your comments and suggestions and everything. Thank you very much for that. Michael says more than likely it was given to a foreign driver for less money. I don't doubt that at all, because I know that's happened a few times where they'll tell you, the load canceled. And it's just that they had somebody call in that would do it significantly cheaper. And I always say to that, you get what you pay for. If they did that to me, I hope that guy's truck breaks down and the load's late and it's shifted and everything else, so that they get exactly what they paid for. Hey, Michael, good to see you again. I hadn't seen you in a long time. He says, hey there. Hello, sir. Thank you for coming in tonight. In the old days, we didn't have cell, but we got the job done with payphones and fax machines. Yes, sir. I remember those days well. And you had to buy those little calling cards to call the house. And you didn't call every day or 2 or 3 times a day. You usually called once or twice a week, because you could rack up a bill. And there was no GPS. You called the place you were going to and they gave you directions, and sometimes they gave you good directions, sometimes they gave you bad directions. There's things I miss about those days and things I don't miss. One thing I miss was back then there was people on the CB you could talk to, run with at night. People were more courteous. If you did have a breakdown at night, people would stop and help. And if you just needed a gallon of antifreeze or something, somebody was likely to help you. Or if you had an extra gallon, you were likely to pull over and help somebody. And it was good times back then for sure. Cell phones are definitely convenient, but I think we could all agree they've made the roads a little less safe because people are addicted to them. They can't put them down and focus on driving. And cars are a little bit to blame too. Cars have become somewhat autonomous with features like lane keeping assist and adaptive cruise and things like that. So people just don't pay attention. They rely on technology probably a lot more than what they should. Michael says, I sound good here. Well, thank you for that, sir. It was touch and go the first 10 minutes of this video. I plugged in at least 4 different microphones before I got one that was working. I think I know what the problem was now, and I'm just going to be honest with you. I think it was operator error. There's a screen here on StreamYard you have to go into and change the mic. And I think I probably had it on the laptop mic instead of the external mic. I bet if I plugged it back in now, it'd work. Gary Cook, channel member and channel member. Yeah, he's not a moderator. He's a channel member. Do you ever try to use the same brokers again, or do you use any broker that has a load you like? So I've got a few that I call and a few that call me, but I've got about 12 different load boards that I regularly look at, and I've got them in order on my phone from my favorite to my least favorite. And I just go down the list, and I'm looking at several things when I look. I'm looking at rates, I'm looking at where it's going, what the market's like there, what the average freight rate is for that lane, length of time before delivery. And I do something weird that a lot of people don't do. I look at rate per day, and there's a lot of 300 to 500 mile loads that, yeah, you're delivering every day, but the rate's a lot better. So if I can make 1,200 a day or so and only have to do 200 or 300 miles, then that's great because it's less wear and tear on my truck, and I'm still hitting the revenue goals that I need to hit. Jerry McClure, Swift Hiring Rabbit said, big money. I've been asked frequently, I've been asked a few things lately. A lot of people are asking me if I'm looking for another job, if I'm considering leaving SRO Logistics. And I've been asked a lot why I don't go back to Swift. And I think you have to be careful of nostalgia. Uh, I did very well at Swift. I was very happy there, but they've got a different CEO now. A lot of the leadership that was there when I was there is gone. They've had some policy changes since I was there. They're starting to put the Lytix cameras in like Prime has, unless you get your own insurance. And you can bet eventually it's coming to everybody over there. And so, not saying I wouldn't never go back. It's just, it's not something that I'm going to be doing anytime soon. And another thing on Swift, um, they currently will not hire me until that accident I had is 5 years old. It's currently 2.5 years old. Now, I know some really, really high people up on the ladder there. I could probably call them and I could probably get in. But I just, with all that's going on over there, I'm not eager to get over there right now. The 70% that everybody was so excited about that they're now offering, first of all, it's 12% less than I'm making right now, but it is contract rates. So it'd probably put me up around the same income I make now, but it's not 70% of their rate. It's 70% of what they think market average is. So it's 70% of whatever they think it should pay. I'm like, well, if you're going to do that, you might as well give me 100% of what you think it'd pay because you've already took your cut out anyway. But yeah, I don't know. I hope Rabbit's doing well over there, but typically what I've found is when somebody is constantly, and you could play a drinking game to this, when they're constantly saying, use my referral link, use my referral link, um, they're counting on the referrals to make it there. And this is nothing that I hadn't said to Fly Rabbit not to his face over the phone. I've told him that you want to recruit for Swift, be successful there, drive the truck. People will see you're happy. They'll ask you, how can I come there? You don't have to constantly say, use my referral link, use my referral link. I'll help you if you use my referral link. If you don't help me, I won't help you. Don't say that. Say, hey, I'm going to help you no matter what. Let me tell you about my week. And people can see the excitement in your face and they'll want to be a part of that. People are skeptical when every other sentence says, use my referral link. That's just my opinion. I told that to him, and he obviously took it with a grain of salt. What he's doing is obviously working for him, and I'm glad it is. But ethically, I can tell you point blank, I wouldn't do what he's doing. Gary Cook, channel member, the headset that you have on now. Let me go up and find, because it was a little while back. Okay, good. So this headset sounds better. I'll start using it then. Blue Smoke, nothing more frustrating than a new setup package being signed slowly. Brokers are quick triggered and will move on from you quickly. Yeah, because what they do, and I agree with you, by the way, Blue Smoke, they kind of put it in holding, but it doesn't necessarily remove it from the load board. So people are still calling in. And if I've said that I'll do that load for 800 and somebody else calls in after me, 20 minutes later and says, I'll do it for 600, or they'll tell the guy, they'll say, hey, I got a guy holding at 8. Would you do it for less than that? If the guy says yes and he says a number smaller than 8, they'll tell me they had to pull it off of me or their colleague booked it or something like that, and they'll give it to somebody else. And it's not ethical, it's not right, but it's we had the same thing happen in the car business. You'd be working, you'd have a customer on their way up. Never fails, you'd set a 2 o'clock appointment with them. 1:30, 1:40, you'd go to the bathroom. They'd show up early, and the salespeople would go, oh, well, Todd quit, but I can help you. You're in the bathroom. You come out of the bathroom, you see your customer in somebody else's office, and you're like, hey, I was in the bathroom. You knew I was. Why didn't you sit them in my office? I'd have been right there. Oh, I thought you'd gone home for the day. And they didn't think that. They wanted to split the sale with you because you're a better salesman than them, and they're going to live off half your commissions. And or it's your day off, and I kind of get that one, but usually on my day off, I went in. They'd say, "All right, Todd, you're off on Wednesdays and Sundays," but it was kind of wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Usually, what I did on Wednesdays, if that was my day off, is I would just sleep in and I'd go up there about 11 or noon, but I pretty much work 6 days a week. But anytime that income is involved, some people are going to step across the line and do things that you and I wouldn't view as ethical just because they think it helps them get ahead. And I think, kind of like I told you that football coach said, if you do the right thing long enough, you'll get results. If you do the wrong thing long enough, you'll get caught. That's what I try to live by, and conduct my life that way. So, channel member and moderator Robbie Ross said Santa Claus is coming, and it turned out Santa Claus was Robbie Ross. He gifted those 5 Trucker Todd memberships. We sure appreciate him doing that. Don't let him be the only one. If you didn't win one, go down there and get you one. Hit join. If enough of you do it, I may actually get some content down there. Basically, what we're going to do is when we get the merch going, I'm gonna be gifting out some merch to people that have been channel members, and eventually we'll have some content there. If you've got any suggestions, you can email them to me at todd@truckertodd.net. Steve Givens said, nice. Yeah, I said this in a previous video, but ever since my Roadrunner days, he's been a really, really good friend. And I mean, in the good times and the bad, when things were going great, he was a big supporter. And when things were going not so great, I'm talking about the stroke and all of that, he continued to be a big supporter. He wasn't what you'd call a fair weather friend, and so got a lot of respect for him, because he's been a loyal friend, which is rare in this day and age, and it's even more rare on YouTube. All right, let's see what's next. Gary Cook, channel member, has your company had to fill out a lot of driver carrier or a lot of carrier packets to Scott check the broker as well. So anytime you're using a new broker, the broker will require a carrier packet. Because we have so much freedom here, you end up doing 2 or 3 carrier packets a week sometimes, just because you've got a vast area of places you can pull loads from. I'm not sure what Scott does on his end. I run a credit check through the factoring company before I book any loads, and I'm sure he does his fair share of checks as well. Mainly the carrier packet, though, is for the broker. They're checking SRO logistics insurance and things like that, safety score, things like that. So that's mainly the purpose of the carrier packet. Gary Cook, channel member, who remembers when certain truck stops had park and view? Yes, also Idle Air. I had their service for a while. That was back before APUs took off. They were around, but they weren't near as popular. And man, we thought we were living it big. You could run coax back to your TV and have cable. It blew air conditioning and heat in the cab, and the air smelled good. It kind of filtered the air. So if your truck was kind of, I don't know what the word is, had stale air in it, it would make it smell good in there. They also had where you could rent movies and stuff. So it was the good old days. When Idle Air went down the first time financially, a lot of people just went out and bought APUs thinking they weren't coming back. Then they tried to come back, but by the time they tried to come back, people already had APUs and had made other arrangements where Idle Air wasn't as desirable as it once was. I would like to have one of those plastic things that went in your window that you hook the Idle Air to, because this truck was set up at one time with an air conditioner, and it had a generator on the back, and my air conditioner that goes in here, it has an exhaust vent that you need to have going outside. And if I had one of those plastic things, I could put it in the window and run the exhaust hose through that. So if anybody's got any of those old Idle Air or Park and View window adapter things, let me know. I could definitely use it. Also, they sell these deals. I've seen them a lot at TA and Petro. They're designed to give you ventilation, but I bet I could make one of those work as well. Might have to buy 2 of them and do some super gluing or something like that, but I think I could make something work. But they were heavy duty plastic, and I think they'd work a lot better. Channel member and moderator Robbie Ross, with the Blitz starting tomorrow, I'm guessing English proficiency will be checked lots with all the news reports from that tragic accident in Florida. Yeah, and I'm in a lot of trouble because I've already proved tonight I'm not very proficient in the English language. But yeah, I got those 3 drive tires done this week. That was $1,440 or $1,434, something like that. They quoted me $1,440, and one of my casings scored a little higher than what they originally thought. So it ended up being $1,434 for 3 drive tires. And I did that in preparation. You know, when that airbag busted and my trailer leaned, it kind of tore up some tires. And so I did that in preparation for this Blitz. And now I should be ready. The other shooter, Tom, I started out with an MCI 800 number to call my house. Then I had the Almighty pager, then a Nextel that had crap coverage. Yeah, I started off with 2 pagers when I was in sales, and one of them had an 800 number. I'm trying to remember how it worked. There was a way that you could call back and you could make calls on it. and from a payphone. It seemed like you dialed an 800 number and you had to prepay time on it or something. And then I graduated up to my first cell phone, and it was a prepaid Nokia, big kind of brick looking phone, and it was $1 a minute. And I thought I was so cool. This was in the mid 90s, I want to say. I thought I was so cool. No, it wasn't. It would have been 96, 97, right in there, probably 97. Anyway, I thought I was so cool having a cell phone. And I went to visit my parents, and I had like 3 minutes left on it. And my sister wanted to use the phone so bad. She'd never used a cell phone before. I said, no, I need to save those 3 minutes because I had my wife at the time and my two kids with me. And I said, if we have car trouble or something, I want to be able to call somebody for help. Well, I set the phone down, dumb trusting me. And I come back and she had gobbled up all the minutes on the phone. And I remember being so mad. Now, keep in mind, this is what, 30 years ago, and I still remember it like it was yesterday. I thought it was so inconsiderate of her to do that, but she was just so impressed that I had a cell phone. And so, yeah, that from there I went and got a Sprint phone and was with Sprint several years. Steve Given, why do you think we're slow to switch from CB to VHF radios, which offer superior range and much clearer? The Canadians use VHF almost exclusively now. I just think, I think CB radios are something we associate with the 70s and not modern. Maybe movies like Smokey and the Bandit and things like that attribute to it. I think there for a while, CBs were an option on cars. You could get your car, especially in the 70s and early 80s, you could get cars equipped from the factory with the CB radio. And ham radio operators have been around forever. And you can make phone calls through your ham radio. I had a friend that was a ham radio operator, and he could make long distance phone calls on it. They tell you you're not supposed to do it unless it's an emergency, but he did it. And I just think it's kind of like VCRs and everything else. We attach those to a certain time period in our lives, and after that time period passes, we don't use them anymore unless it's for retro purposes. And right now, I mean, I could walk up there and turn my CB on, and I couldn't get anybody on there. And mine's been peaked and tuned. It's had a little work done to it. It'll get out, but there's nobody for it to get out to. And I personally think that trucks should come from the manufacturer with the radio already in there. I've used CB radios as a safety device, and I just think I'm barking up a tree that's nothing's ever gonna come of it. I think those days are gone, but I still like having one in here. The other shooter, Tom, going back to a company that you left is like going to your own garage sale to buy your own junk back. I've been guilty of going back to places I've worked before. I've worked at I worked for a company there in Lubbock for a couple of years, and the first time I worked for him for about 8 months, and he kept begging me to come back. I quit because he owed me some money. He tried to cheat me on some payroll, and finally he told me he'd pay me if I'd come back. And so I went back and worked for him a couple more years. And so I worked for him those 2 different times. I've worked for Swift twice from 96 to 01. And then a couple of years ago, I worked for them for a little while. And I worked at Dart twice. They laid me off the first time in 2008 when the market got bad because I lived in Lubbock and everything. And then I came back later and worked for them a second time. So I've done it. I've worked for SRO twice now. I worked for him the first time, about probably 10 or 11 months, had a stroke, was out of commission for 7 months, and then I came back. And I've been here about 7 or 8 months, well, since November. And so it happens from time to time. Steve Given, is Swift all freight? Is all Swift freight contract? So I would say a very, very, very large percentage of their freight is contract. In a rare instance, they might use a broker if they absolutely have to. But keep in mind, they also have Night Swift Logistics, which is a totally separate deal they do where they broker out loads, and they try to keep those loads separate. But sometimes they'll borrow from them too if they need to. I think any contract carrier occasionally has to dip their toes in the spot market, but I mean, usually contract freight pays better than spot market freight, so it's kind of them stepping backwards when they do it. Channel member Robbie Ross and moderator. The emails that Swift have sent me, I don't see how you can make big money. The email told me I could make 61,000. That's poverty. That's not big money in my opinion. Well, the stuff they sent you was local work. The secret on OTR with them is, well, there's several things. One thing is you've got to have a good dispatcher. I used to call it the three-legged stool. The first leg of the stool is you've got to have a good dispatcher. Even if you're doing their load board and picking your stuff, you still need a good driver manager, dispatcher, whatever you want to call them, because they can clear a lot of obstacles out of your way. You need a good piece of equipment. If your truck's laying down on you all the time, it makes it difficult. And the third thing is you need to have some knowledge in trucking, how to run your truck, how to buy your fuel, how to do things like that. If you have those three things, you can make a decent living there. I mean, 23 to 2,800 a week pretty regularly. But I mean, there's a lot of companies you can make that at. They do have their advantages. They did treat me really, really, really well when I was there, so I'm not gonna come on here and totally trash them. I don't like their 70% deal. I'm not gonna lie to you and say that I do. Their mileage sounds bad until you factor in some of the other stuff, all the drop and hook and all the maintenance discounts and things like that. Their fuel card is trash. I had ES Advantage, which is a game changer when you work there. And the details on how to get that card's in the link of the description of this video. Just click on the title and that information will drop down. You answer like 5 questions. They'll call you back in a couple of days and help you get set up. I like that link because I'm easily amused. When you click on it, it brings up a web page that says Trucker Todd. They call it a landing page. I think it's pretty cool. I got a good friend of mine supposed to be signing up for the card, and I hadn't asked him if he's done it yet or not. Ted Van Buskirk, hello, sir. Glad to see you. Hope all is well. Man, the last 4 days have been pure trash. Gary Cook, channel member, have you ever had a broker call Scott to make sure you are with the company? Oh, yeah, right now that happens more often than not. I'm sure it happens through the carrier packets as well because there's been a lot of loads stolen from brokers and things like that. So everything is thoroughly verified, thoroughly checked, and that's part of the stuff that happens through the I wouldn't call it onboarding process. Maybe that's what it's called whenever you're doing the carrier packet and all of that. And honestly, it doesn't offend me or bother me whatsoever when they do that. Sometimes some of them even will refuse to send me the rate con. They'll send it to Scott and then he has to email it to me for me to sign. but he'll include me in the email, and then after that, he'll just tell them to deal with Todd for any updates or concerns about the load. So it works good. It's a good system that he has in place. Just didn't work so well the last couple of days, but normally it works flawlessly. Steve Given, how much is SRO paying when they factor their loads? Don't have any idea, and it's really none of my business. Any business agreements that he's made for his business are none of my business. I get 82%, he gets 18%, and whatever he does with his 18% is up to him. Michael says, strong. Good. Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. Gary Cook, channel member, my first cell phone was a bag phone. Yeah, for a little while I sold cars, and this would have been, let's see, 93, 94 maybe, before I started driving a truck. And my boss, the sales manager, back then I was a floater and I went to a different car lot every day. We had 7 locations in the Amarillo area, and I went to a different car lot every day and ran that lot so that salesman could have a day off. And I remember one day I was at the Plainview location and he came by to visit me. Great guy. We were good friends. He came by, we talked, laughed, had a good time. He took off and forgot his bag phone. And he called me later that day. He's like, Todd, is my bag phone there? I said, yeah, it's right here. He says, all right, I'm on my way back. Just whatever you do, don't use it. Because that's back when phone calls were like $1 a minute. I said, man, I wish you'd have told me sooner. I've been calling everybody on it. I said, I don't have a cell phone. I never had a chance to use one. I called my mom, talked for about 30 minutes. I called my kids. I said, I've been on it all morning. He's like, what? What? He was panicking. And then when I let him get good and worked up, I'm like, man, I'm messing with you. I hadn't used it. I've been busy. I'm selling cars. He's like, all right, I'll be right there. But it was fun to kind of get his goat. And Jay Leatherman, channel member, Robbie Ross, thank you. I appreciate it. Did you put the B in her place? Which one? Channel member and moderator, Robbie Ross. You're welcome, Jay Leatherman. Who wants a Trucker Todd membership? The Fly Rabbit Block Me special. So if any of you are wanting a channel membership, but you don't want to pay for it, Newman Attacks is here. Shoot him a message and tell him you'd like to be a Trucker Todd channel member. Let's see if we can get it back up to the glory days when we had like 20 people in there. TQL is good at making sure you are who you say you are. Gary Cook, channel member. Yeah, TQL is extra careful because they do business with a lot of new authorities and the opportunities for fraud are a lot greater. Seems like the medium-sized brokers don't worry about it too much, but the really large ones and the really small ones seem to be the ones that monitor it the most closely. The other shooter, Tom, if you are going to lease onto a carrier, make it one that is 100% owner-operator. Competition with the company-owned trucks isn't a good plan, just my opinion. Yes, sir, I agree with you. The problem is, man, I've read some reviews because ever since I released that members-only video of Hurricane to the public, everybody's wanted me to do more reviews of companies. So I've been looking at a lot of companies, and man, even the 100% owner-operator ones, The drivers are saying that the company's not paying them right, cheating them out of money, things like that. So rather than read a review, I would rather get firsthand accounts from people I know that's worked at these places. But it's hard to find anybody that's, well, it's hard enough to find people that really own their truck that's not doing a lease purchase or something like that. William Scooby, hello. I haven't called you on a live in a long time. Nice to see you're still kicking. How's things going for you? Prior to the past 4 days, things were going great. The last 4 days was pretty rough, and so yeah. But we're trying to hang in there. Hopefully, I can get a good load tomorrow. I got a lot of stuff coming up this week I need to take care of. Newman Attacks with gifted a membership. Let's see who's the winner. Lance Calhoun was gifted a channel membership by Newman Attacks. Thank you, Newman Attacks. Man, I'm getting tongue-tied. I'm going to say a bad word by accident here in a minute. Channel member and moderator Robbie Ross had to get a windshield. Company quoted me $500. Got it done locally in Phoenix for $325. Very fast and efficient. Yeah, mine. I've also got a Freightliner like his, and I've got a crack that just developed at the very bottom, below even my Elite Pass transponder, and so there'll be a windshield in my future too, I'm afraid. It's not obstructing my view or nothing, so I'm gonna wait a little while though. Gary Cook, channel member, did Swift ever take a load from you and give it to a company truck? Not that I know of. I've heard of it happening to a lot of people, but not that I know of. You never know. They can tell you a load canceled and pass it on to somebody else. But to the best of my knowledge, they never did that to me. Like I said, they treated me pretty good. A lot of people thought when I left there that there'd be a tell-all video where I came out and said, here's really what happened at Swift. And I got to be honest with you. Swift always treated me very well. I left because I saved up enough money to buy my own truck, and I got the spot market itch. I originally was going to lease that truck onto Swift, but I really just, when I heard what their load board was going to be and how it was coming out, I was beta testing it, and I didn't see nothing that got me real excited. And so I just decided to come out here where I had a lot more freedom and a lot more control. Now, so yeah, now F2F, I was only there a short time. Everybody asked me about F2F. They treated me pretty good. I haven't been at a lot of really bad companies. Dart treated me really good. I just couldn't stand that Lancaster shop. And so, yeah, that's, I've been very fortunate. I've only worked for a couple of really bad companies. Most of them have been really, really good to me. And so I don't have a lot of dirt to sling. And if I did, I slung it while I worked there, not after I left. Channel member and moderator Robbie Ross, Lincoln told me he wants Trucker Todd merch when you get it. Yeah, I'll have to make sure that we have pet paraphernalia, pet bowls or pet clothing or something that say Trucker Todd on them. The other shooter, Tom. I had a long-term relationship with Jim Ferris, Ferris Truck Brokers in Pharr, Texas. He had an office inside the Silver Spur truck stop. I'd like to know more about that. I'm not familiar with him, but there's a lot of things I'm not familiar with, or I was familiar with him and I forgot. Gary Cook, channel member, isn't there two side to F2F? So I mean, the whole time I was there, it was short. I spent most of the time I was there in the shop in Chattanooga. My truck laid down on the way over there. But office staff treated me great. Um, Super friendly, took me to lunch. When I had the accident, they cut me loose, but recently they've started emailing me again saying they'd like me to come back. I don't see that happening because since that time, I've had friends that have worked there that have not had a favorable outcome, but nothing F2F ever did to me was bad enough that I feel like I need to come on here and talk bad about them. They treated me good. They did put some erroneous information on my hiring deal when people check them for employment. I contacted them, said, hey, this is incorrect. They said, we'll take a look. They agreed with me. The information was incorrect. And they went back and fixed it and apologized to me. So I don't have anything bad to say about them. They've handled everything fair, and I understand why they've done what they've done. But I was shocked to get an email from them asking me to come back so soon. Newman Attack, channel member, I'm turning in my lease truck and moving to Swift. My only business goal is to onboard more recruits than Fly Rabbit. I think that would be hilarious. If you do that, I'll bring you on the show and interview you. Try to get you some referrals. Mac T, a lot of drivers will lie and say they didn't make money at a company, but won't tell you that they chose to work 3 days a week. Very true. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Or like I had a guy, I think it was when I was at Dart, he called me and he said he fills his truck up every morning, regardless of where he's at. And so I told him, I said, well, you're wasting about $300 a week. And he said, why do you say that? I said, because you're not buying your fuel optimally where it's cheapest, and you're not following any kind of fuel strategy. And I finally got him to start doing it, and he's like, wow, I'm making a lot more money. I'm like, yeah, it's these, if you just listen to me, I might talk slow, but I got a lot of good ideas. And it looks like Newman Attack gifted another channel membership. This one went to Jordan B. Jordan B, congratulations. Thank you, Newman Attack, for doing that once again. Steve Given, do you ever talk to Coach? Haven't. It's funny because the perception is that he and I are real good friends. I've probably had 2 phone conversations with him in my life, maybe 3. We have texted periodically through the years, but nothing recent. I saw that he put a community post on Facebook, I guess a couple of weeks ago, a week ago, something like that, saying that he was currently a company driver. He was considering doing YouTube again, and he was considering buying a truck, but nothing right now. I don't know what the truth is. And, he's kind of in the same boat as Fly Rabbit. We're kind of running in different circles now. I don't wish him bad. I hope he lands on his feet, but I don't have any insider knowledge about what's going on in his world these days. I can tell you YouTube was more interesting when he was on there, but it is what it is. We all get burned out on YouTube, and I can definitely understand the desire to want to quit sometimes. Gary Cook, channel member, does Swift send their loads by railroad? So I'm going to get myself in trouble here. I'm going to tell you what my understanding is, but it's very possible I'm wrong. It's my understanding they do send some loads on the rail to the West Coast, and they send some empty trailers back from the West Coast on the rail. I know that almost any railroad you see, you'll see a few Swift trailers in there. I do not know if those are loaded or empty. I would assume it's a little bit of both. I think probably it's safe to say that all of the mega carriers send a portion of their loads on the rail. But I couldn't tell you what percentage or nothing like that. I could probably Google it and get you some accurate information. Newman Attack, if anyone is going to Iron Skillet or Country Pride, please use my referral code. Yes, Newman Attack has a referral code for the Iron Skillet and the Country Pride. My referral code is for Bojangles and White Castle. The other shooter, Tom. Ferris was a hardcore Texan, but you had to know how to sell yourself and negotiate. He never screwed me on a rate we agreed upon. That's excellent. Sounds like he was from a different generation where a handshake meant just as much as a contract. Robbie Ross, channel member and moderator. Is the super chat or sticker equal the same as a gift membership? That's a great question. They changed some of that a while back, and I want to say they all pay 70%, but I don't know that for a fact. I can look into that and let you know in the next couple of days, next time I talk to you. William Scooby, oh yeah, you see Swift, JB Hunt, Warner, all those big companies use the rail. And I'm sure it's out of necessity because, you know, they probably get an influx of trailers in one part of the country or an influx of loads in one part of the country. And you don't want to deadhead a bunch of trucks there, bobtail, to pick those trailers up. So I see why they might do it for empty trailers. What I'm hoping is they don't have to do a lot of loaded trailers that way as well. All right, folks, we're caught up on the comments. So this is the part of the show where I remind everybody, please give this video a thumbs up, share it on your social media platforms, and please, please, please subscribe so that you receive notifications when my recorded videos come out and when I do lives, usually on Tuesdays and Thursdays, sometimes on the weekend like now. You just never know, but you will know 30 minutes in advance if you are subscribed. After you hit that subscribe, you do have to hit the bell and select all. Also, folks, if you need to reach me, try Todd at truckertodd.net. That's my email, Todd at truckertodd.net. You can go check out the website. I need to go check it out and update it, but it is truckertodd.net. Go check it out as well. It even has a deal where you can send me like an instant message from the website. So just want to make you aware of those things while you're typing out your comments. The other shooter, Tom. Jim would simply eat these new guys up with not being able to actually negotiate. Yeah, it was you that was giving me a good observation in one of your emails. You were talking about when you're negotiating, you're not just negotiating a rate, you're selling yourself and why you're actually worth more and why that broker should pay you more than the guy beside you. And so many people don't know how to do that. And for you Swift guys, I know there's some of y'all in here. The same thing is true for you. Get to know the planners. Get to know your driver manager. Don't kiss up, but sell yourself. You know, take loads that other guys won't take. Maybe even a short one if they're going to give you one you've been wanting after that. Be willing to move some spot trailers. I've made a lot of money at Swift moving trailers that they've sold and things like that. Same thing at Dart. So wherever you're working, sell yourself so that your company sees value in you and you're not just a truck number to them. Mac T, most of the Swift terminals are filled with trailers they no longer use. It's some crafty work by their yard shifters. Yeah, I bet. That would surprise you though. When I was at Swift, I mean, sometimes you'd have to drive 200 or 300 miles to get an empty trailer, especially if it was near a holiday. Now they paid you as long as they authorized it, so I didn't mind it, but you could also lose a load if it took too long to find one. And they could save a lot of money, and I mean a lot of money, if, hang on, they could save a lot of money if they would just call these places and say, hey, have you got any empty trailers before I send one of my trucks over there? But they don't do it. They'll just send you everywhere and let you look. And it's good for you because you're getting paid for it, but it's not great for the company. Channel member and moderator Robbie Ross, $20. The preseason's over. The games count starting September 3rd. How about them Cowboys? Yes, yes. I heard I heard two jokes. I tried to send one of them to you, but you don't have Facebook. One of them was two guys trying to start a lawnmower, and the guy goes, "Oh, I think the choke's not working," and the other guy stuck a Dallas Cowboy sticker on it, and he goes, "Now I guarantee you it'll choke." And the other one said, "How do you get the Cowboys in the Super Bowl? You turn on your Xbox." All right, I'm trying to get back where I was. Appreciate that, Robbie Ross. William Scooby, I personally think the only way to do it now is either be an owner operator or a company driver. It depends on if you've got business sense or not. There's no shame in being a company driver. Everybody acts like being a company driver is like dating your cousin or something. There's no shame in being a company driver. You get benefits. They take out taxes, things like that. You don't have to worry about maintenance or if the equipment breaks down. So there's some benefits to being a company driver, but most people act like it's the kiss of death. Can you make more money as an owner operator? Absolutely. Can you make less money as an owner operator? Absolutely. It depends on a whole myriad of things. And so you just have to, know thyself, know what you're good at, know what you're comfortable doing, and make that decision for yourself. Channel member Newman Attack, I had a puncture in a trailer tire and it's Pepsi's fault. The rage builds. Yeah, I went to a place, well, it's that place that I sat for 23 hours, and they had me pull into a flatbed dock because they said they could get me unloaded quicker. And it had these big, big rails that went up the side right beside my trailer. And I should have took a picture of it. I had less than an inch of clearance on both sides with my doors open. And when I got in there, my back drive tire was leaning. It had like rails running along the ground too. My back drive tire was rubbing against one of those yellow rails. But I got in there, didn't tear nothing up, but I was holding my breath the whole time. I think I would have rather waited till they had a regular dock space open. Sometimes just because I can back in a place don't mean I should. The other Shooter Tom, but do not throw out a higher number that you can't actually sell. Too many throw out a willy-nilly number that they piled up out of their hind end. Good old school broker catch that right away. Yeah, usually, and they say this in sales too. You've got to build value in your product, and in this case, the product is you and your equipment. So usually, if you've done a good job of selling yourself and you're knowledgeable about the lane you're bidding on, then they're not going to balk too much. If you sense they're balking, you can explain this route has a lot of tolls. This route is going to be difficult to get something out of there. And that's how I've arrived at this number. A lot of times, not every time, but a lot of times a broker will tell me, I can definitely see how you got to that number. It seems fair. Let me see if I can get it approved. Now, I don't always get what I want, but a lot of times they agree that my offer is fair. And it goes back to what I've said in other videos. You know, there's enough meat on the bone for both of us. I'm okay with the broker making money, but I got to make a little bit too. Me pulling these loads that I lose $500 a day doesn't make sense for anybody but the broker. It's great for them. It's terrible for me. And that's what I tell them. Businesses can't stay in long losing money like that. Gary Cook, channel member of the Chicago Bears, beat Kansas City the other night. I was excited about that. Yeah, but it's preseason. Let's see how they do when Patrick Mahomes is in there. Patrick Mahomes played ball in Lubbock, Texas, uh, for college with Texas Tech. So I got to root for Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs. Mac T. I can't see what that is. It looks like, oh, umbrellas. Okay. I'm not throwing shade. Newman Attack, channel member Tom, I can throw out a reasonable number and you'd think I'd kidnap their child. Todd has seen some of the screens to verify. That was from Newman Attack channel member. Yeah, well, the problem is, and the other shooter, Tom, would agree, there's a lot of people out here bidding on loads that got no business bidding on loads. And so when the broker runs across somebody like the other shooter, Tom, or me, or Newman Attacks, that knows what they're doing, they'll just tell us no, and they'll wait till an idiot calls in that'll do it for $300 or $400 cheaper. And you remember the old commercials? Don't hate me because I'm beautiful. Well, don't hate us because we're smart and we took time to learn about our industry. It, you know, a good negotiation, and I read this in one of the books I read, is when both sides hurt just a little bit. Where I have to give a little, the broker has to give a little bit. A good negotiation's not where somebody gets screwed over. It's where both sides give a little and they meet in the middle somewhere. The other shooter, Tom, says, Newman, I believe you, sir. Yeah, and the other thing is, well, shoot, I forgot what I was going to say. Oh, no deal is better than a good deal. I mean, this case, could I have probably found something for 70 cents a mile to get me moving? Yeah, maybe. But no deal is better than a good deal. I got a 34-hour restart while I'm here. I'll start fresh tomorrow, and I'll be gung-ho to run and make some money. So we'll see what happens. I'll either be the hero or the donkey at the end of the week. Mac T, you have to go be a go-getter to be an owner-operator. If you sit and wait, not being proactive, it's best to stay company. I would definitely agree with that. The deal is, I mean, Saturday I could have went to Lubbock and I could have stayed there several days, and SRO Logistics wouldn't have called me and said, "Hey Todd, don't you think you need to be running? Don't you think you need to be working?" The guy I bought the truck from, he wouldn't have called and said, "Hey Todd, why ain't you working? Your last few videos you've been at home. Why ain't you working?" Nobody would have said that, but everybody would have expected their money when the time came due. And so you've got revenue goals you've got to hit. And if that truck is sitting in your yard and you're polishing chrome and showing it off to the neighbors, you're not going to have it very long. Those wheels got to be turning. And if I were to show you the front of my truck right now, you'd know the wheels have been turning. It's got dead bugs all over the grill, all over the windshield. I got to clean it in the morning with my pre-trip. But you can tell this truck's been moving. And that's why none of those people call me and say, "Hey, Todd, don't you need to be working?" Because they know I will be. And not everybody can do that. Some people need somebody to tell them, hey, time to get out of bed, time to go. You can tell it, some brokers try to micromanage you. I don't need it. I need you to tell me when to pick it up, where to pick it up, when to deliver it, and where to deliver it. And then go get you a cup of coffee and I'll be there. William Scooby, exactly. And I think the whole lease game is just a scam. You pay for the privilege of driving their truck and not feeding your family unless you can show me one that's not that way. So I would agree with you about 85% of the time. I would say most of them are designed for you to fail. Darts was pretty good, Dart Transit, and Swift's was pretty good. I knew lots of people that paid off trucks um, and did very well. Um, but you know, there's a lot to that. If you get a lemon truck, it's going to be tough. If you get a bad dispatcher, it's going to be tough. A better thing to do in a lease purchase deal is go into a walkaway and use it into a stepping stone to get your own truck. Save up a down payment, turn that walkaway truck in when you can. There are some benefits. If you don't have a big nest egg, these mega carriers are kind of float you the money if your truck breaks down, things like that. But it's a stepping stone, like what I did at Swift. I had a lease purchase truck. I saved up enough money that I could pay cash for my own truck. And that's a much better strategy if you can do it. But I'm going to agree with you. Almost all of them are designed for you to fail. But there's never all of one thing. Like you can't say all white people are rich and all of this ethnicity are poor, because it's not true. There's going to be some rich or poor in every ethnicity. Can't say all lease purchases are bad, because there's a couple that are okay, but most of them are bad. The other shooter, Tom, I didn't always get what I wanted, but I always at least tried. I think I won more than I lost, though. Yeah, and I say this all the time. You should always ask, even if it's got a good rate. If they only come up $50, that's $50 that you wouldn't have got if you didn't ask for it. So I always ask. And even if they say no, man, could we even come up 100 on it? And if they say no, then I know we're there. But sometimes they'll say, you know what? I'll come up 100, and that's $100 I didn't have, or $82 after I pay my 18%. But still, you get the point. William Scooby, the problem is brokers don't give hardly anymore. Um, I don't know. I would say probably 60% will still negotiate with you. There's some that absolutely, you're right. I can think of a broker right now off the top of my head that they 90% of the time they won't even come up $5. They generally just don't care. Newman Attack, channel member William. I currently have 2 brokers that give me above average on loads, but I'm very proactive, delivering early every time, and they know it. Yeah, if you're not a problem child, that helps a lot. If they can go back in there and see that you run their tracking apps, and when they call, you answer the phone, and when they email, you answer the emails. That goes a long way with a lot of them. If they know the freight's going to get there undamaged, if they know you're going to call them if there's any problems and update them, that goes a long way too. Like I did that load that it took those lockers and it took like 4 or 5 hours to unload. I called the broker as soon as the guy told me, yeah, it's going to take a few hours. And I said, hey, it's probably going to be about 3 o'clock this afternoon before I can pick that other load up. He said, man, I appreciate you telling me. He said, I'll call them. It'll be fine. You'll be a work in, but they'll take you. Then I called him when it got empty. I said, hey, man, I got some great news. I'm going to be there about an hour and a half sooner than what I told you earlier. I think I can be there by 1:30. He's like, man, Todd, you're awesome. You're great. Thank you so much for staying in touch, for letting me know. I'm going to update the customer now. And he's like, you wouldn't believe how many people don't keep us in the loop. And he's like, I've really enjoyed working with you. After we were done with the load, he thanked me again. You've been great to work with. If you ever need anything, holler at me. And so they definitely, those are things you can do even in a complicated market like now to stick out and for them to know that they can count on you. Hang on, I got stuff going on over here. Okay, that's okay. Man, I'm putting out some good content tonight, and it's showing I've only got 14 thumbs up. Y'all help me out here. Go give me a thumbs up. It's the least you can do. Steve Given, lease purchase deals have less than a 5% completion rate. This is why companies love them, and they truly are predatory in nature. Well, let's look at that for a minute. Let's take Hurricane, for example. It's a 6-year lease. Look over your driving career. How many companies have you stayed at for 6 years? It's not always the company's fault. A lot of them, uh, I think SFI is a 3-year lease, and then there's a balloon payment. How many people stay at companies 3 years anymore? So um, a lot of times it's not the company's fault. Think about me when I had my 15 strokes in one day. If I'd have been in a lease purchase, I wouldn't have completed it. Would that have been the company's fault? No, it just stuff happens. Family emergencies, things like that, health issues, a lot of things get truckers out. Um, I've had drivers that have met the love of their life, and she wants them to come off the road, and they quit trucking and turn in their lease purchase truck. I would say that's actually an advantage of a lease purchase. If you're purchasing a truck from a dealership and you need to walk away, it's going to be on your credit. They might sue you for it. In a walk away lease purchase, you can turn the truck in and walk away. So um, I don't know that all of them are predatory, but definitely the longevity gets a lot of people. You know, ATS used to have a 12-month lease, and I don't know what the details of it were, but I always thought, man, it probably has a higher completion rate. And but Dart has a really good one. It's not uncommon, or before, they've lost a lot of drivers now. Before, it wasn't uncommon at all to meet guys that had paid off 3 or 4 trucks at Dart. And I've got a couple of friends that work over there now, and both of them are doing pretty well over there as well. Newman Attack gifted another Trucker Todd membership. Everybody's going to have one before the night's over. Poplars was the proud winner of that gifted membership. Thank you to Newman Attack, and congratulations to Poplar. Robbie Ross, channel member and moderator. My lease purchase ends next month. I've had a positive experience. I will keep the truck for a bit. Yeah, I think that's a good idea. And that's something too. A lot of guys will complete a lease purchase and they'll turn the truck in because they get new truck fever. And so you see a guy that's been at a company 5 or 10 years and he's still doing a lease purchase, and you think he failed when really all he did was upgrade his truck because he likes being under warranty or things like that. A lot of Dart drivers do that as well. Gary Cook, channel member, a lease purchase. A lot of companies don't require down payment. I think that's why the payments are high. Absolutely. If a truck costs $200,000, you're going to pay that $200,000. Now, if you put $50,000 up front, you're going to pay $150 in payments plus interest. But if you put zero down, you're going to pay $200 plus interest. And so it's always a good idea to have a down payment. But I mean, guys want to do no money down, and they got to understand their payments are going to be a little higher when they do that. Or they want all the chrome and the APU and all that. Somebody's going to pay for that stuff. And spoiler alert, it's going to be the driver. Newman Attack, channel member, we've given 5 memberships during the Fly Rabbit Block Me special. Yes, sir. So you did 5, and Robbie Ross did 5. So 10 lucky people have become channel members tonight. And he said, we've given out 5 memberships during the Fly Rabbit Block Me special. Yeah, maybe he'll block some more people. Everybody give 5 channel memberships. It'd be great, but we've had 10 tonight. That's awesome. I appreciate everybody who's participated in that. And I hope everybody enjoys being a member and getting the badge by your name. And hopefully I'm doing videos soon. If y'all have got something you'd like to see members only exclusive in the channel, let me know and maybe I can shoot some videos specifically for that. The other shooter, Tom, even if you go lease operator deal with no money down, you still need to have this thing called operating capital. Yeah, and I might argue that you need to have even more operating capital because most companies, it's a week or two till you get your first settlement, especially if they hold a week back. And then your first 8 weeks or so you're there, they're taking out escrows and stuff like that. So I would say you need to have a few thousand. You would be surprised, especially though, at certain companies I worked at, how many people showed up at orientation with $0 to their name or $100 to their name. And then they get a truck and they break down on their first or second trip out and they don't have any money for a hotel or nothing. And I get it. The reason they're coming to a new company is their last company ripped them off or they weren't making any money. So I get why their finances might be a little lower than what they would like, but you're definitely getting taking a big risk the less money you have. I've talked about it before as being like starting a Monopoly game. In a Monopoly game, I believe you start the game with $1,500. If you could start the game with $5,000, you'd be better off than a guy starting it with $1,500. But if you had to start the game with $0, you'd have to try to make it all the way around to go without landing on pay taxes or anything like that. And you'd have to hope nobody else rolled a higher number and bought a property you landed on. So it would take you several laps around the Monopoly board to get there. And it's the same thing in trucking. You can start with zero money down, and if your truck plays nicely and nothing goes wrong, you can build up some revenue, especially if they don't charge you a truck payment the first few weeks. But man, if you could go to orientation with a few $1,000s, you're going to be a lot better off. Racing Ray 28, moderator. Wow, I'm getting channel member fever. I'm surprised YouTube didn't give you one of them because it does it by people that comment a lot is what it says. It gave it to some new people tonight, but what you do is down at the bottom of your screen, there's a deal that says join and you click on that and you can become a channel member. I've been told it's harder to do on an Apple product, so that may be why you're having problems. Hopefully somebody will gift some out and you'll get some. If you're on a regular computer, it's pretty easy to do. Or I can bring one next time I come see you and help you get on the deal. Peer pressure's getting to him. He will be a channel member soon. Racing Ray. I was going to buy one, but I couldn't figure out how. Yeah, that's how you do it. You just click on join. But I've been told that it's harder to do on an Apple product. If there's any Androids in your house, I think you've got one that's about to be active this week. You can watch a Trucker Todd live from there and you can become a channel member from there. The other shooter, Tom, those people were bankrupt and didn't realize it. Yeah, I think right now, I know you're retired now, but in this economy, almost everybody I talk to is bankrupt or one step away from bankrupt. And I've said for a long time, most of us are one major breakdown away from being done. There was a girl here at SRO. Somebody backed into her truck, and her truck was down for over 3 weeks. And 3 weeks would bankrupt a lot of us. That's another advantage of a larger company is a lot of times they'll provide you with a loaner truck if your truck's down. It's usually not the repair that gets you, it's the downtime. When I play Monopoly, I'm always in jail. Channel member Newman Attack. Be sure to use my referral code anytime you shop at the red light on Main and Finley in Puxatawny. There you go. Referral codes for red lights. Hope y'all can still hear me. My microphone's doing weird things. It's like trying to travel off my head. Racing Ray, yeah, I don't see the join button on my iPhone. Yeah, when you activate your Android later this week, you'll be able to do it. Channel member and moderator. During only alive, can you buy a membership? No, you can buy them anytime. I believe you can go to my YouTube page and buy them there too. I'm not sure if I can send out a link or not, but some of y'all that are wanting to become channel members, email me at todd@truckertodd.net and I'll try to help you get through the process. The other shooter, Tom, wife says it's my old man bedtime. Everyone have a good night. Been a pleasure participating in the chat. Yeah, thank you for being here tonight, the other shooter, Tom. A lot of great comments and good insight. I appreciate you being here, and I hope you'll come back again. All right, we're caught up again. We're almost at the 2-hour mark. What else y'all got tonight? If you got something else, we'll talk about it. If you don't, we can either end this or I can try my microphones again, trying to get them to work. Let's do that real quick. Y'all tell me if you can hear me. How's that sound? Can anybody hear me? Actually, I think I've got it on the wrong one. Let's see. How's that sound? Can anybody hear me? Testing 1, 2, 3. Can anybody hear? I can turn up my sound and see if I can hear me. Doggone it, I always do that. How about now? Can you hear me? How about now? Can you hear me? Yep, it's working. Good deal. So we got the microphone mystery solved. Oh, it sounds good here. Okay, I'll take it off. All right, we're back. It should be good now. Is it better now? All right, let's get back up here to the comments. I got behind doing a little microphone test. Newman Attack says He's a channel member, by the way. I can't wait to start my new recruiting gig at Swift. So for those that don't know, it's a little inside joke. He's running the spot market. He's not headed to Swift. Robbie Ross, channel member moderator, thought it sounded terrible when I switched mics. Gary Cook, channel member, agreed with him. Racing Ray, moderator, says, good luck, Newman Attack. Gary Cook said it's not as loud as the other one. Channel member, moderator Racing Ray says it was better before. Newman Attack, channel member Todd, put your microphone inside a paper bag and then talk while you're eating tater chips. We will have a huge YouTube show to do. Yeah, there you go. Some of these comments that don't make sense to y'all is just inside jokes. Gary Cook, channel member, there you are. Yes, I'm back. Steve Given says nothing. Are you still having trouble hearing me, Steve? Boy, this video is turning into a Technical Tuesday video. Mac T, what's the spill on TRC Freight? I've talked to them before. They've got a huge YouTuber over there, and Bonehead Truckers works over there. I believe he's head of their recruiting. Don't really have a lot of firsthand knowledge. They seem okay. I'm hoping to talk to some of their drivers and learn more about them. I got pretty deep into discussions with them at one point. There was a couple of little things that we had to get ironed out first. Not sure between you and me if there's a spot for me over there. Bonehead does a fine job for him. Ike Stevens does a fine job for him, and I don't know. I'm not saying I wouldn't never go there. I just somehow they slip through the cracks. They fall off the radar, and I forget about them a lot of times. So these here should not be getting low. Are you saying these are sounding like they're low? Let me see what they say they are. These are at 80%, so they should not be low. Do they sound like they're low? Steve Given, yes, way better. Okay, we'll start using these now. And Newman Attack, channel member, says he's giving away 5 memberships in the next live. That's awesome. Thank you for that, my friend. So I usually charge my headsets every other day. All of them I've got, I can usually get 2 full days out of them. But that's of heavy use. I could probably get 3 if I was just a normal person. But I rely on headsets pretty heavy. These I love, but when you're driving, sometimes it's hard to hear because they don't actually go in your ear. They hover over your ear. But when you're parked and doing videos like this, they work great. Of course, right now I'm not needing any sound. I'm just needing the microphone portion. If I had a guest on like we're going to have in the coming weeks, then I need to be able to hear. And so I'll definitely be using these for that interview. Channel member Newman Attack, you left off the funny part. Yeah, this is a monetized channel. I'm trying not to lose my channel. Gary Cook, channel member, do you still have your solar power headset? I do, but they don't work. I've actually got about 4 or 5 of them. So everything I said in the videos is true. I love that headset. And up until that point, it was my favorite one. The problem is it kept breaking. And to their credit, they would send me a new one every time it broke. And they'd say, we're working on improving it to where that doesn't happen. We're trying different plastics. Here's a prototype. A lot of them I used were prototypes, and we never could get it fixed. Uh, and so at one point they finally just said, we're going to stop sending headsets until we can get this figured out. And I haven't heard from them since. It's as much my fault as it is theirs. I need to call them and see if they've got that part figured out. You can go back and watch those old videos though, and they sounded really good. It was a really well built headset. And so, yeah, I would love to have another one, but they've got to get it to where it doesn't break. And the problem may be when you're using the solar charging, the sun may be drying out the plastic. I don't know if they need to use a different material or what, but it was a great headset. That I can promise you. Newman Attack channel member, I censored it for you and everything. I have stuff to spread here. I understand, man. I do understand. Steve Given, Turtle Beach is the way to go. I don't think I've ever used Turtle Beach. If you can get them to send me a headset, though, I'll review it, or I'll try to look them up and see if I can get them to send me one. You know, it's funny. I did a review on these that I got on these EKSA 30s, and I thought I did a generally positive review. My only complaint was some of the controls are kind of weird to figure out, and I offended them. I don't know that they'll ever send me another headset because they didn't like that I had anything negative to say. But I feel for a review to be true, you gotta tell the good and the bad, and nothing's perfect. Everything could be a little better. The controls are a little weird on this one. Like it's different button combinations, like turn the volume up and to mute, and it's weird. But and like I said, when you're driving, sometimes it's hard to hear. But other than that, it's a great headset, and boy, they were offended. Newman Attack channel member, don't forget to use my referral code at the Amtrak station in Alliance, Ohio. There you go. If ever you're there, Newman Attack has a referral code for you. He learned from the best. Robbie Ross, channel member and moderator, seems to be a troll-free live tonight. Yeah, that Newman's not a troll. He's a good friend. He's trolling another YouTuber, but it's all in good fun. Alrighty, we've surpassed the 2-hour mark. What else are we going to talk about tonight? Or are we going to get off here and get ready for a busy day tomorrow? Give y'all a few more seconds. We got some people a lot of people, quite honestly, that'll be watching the replay. They'll be a part of the replay gang. And we've got a lot of people that told me earlier that they're listening while they're driving, but they wouldn't be able to comment. They'd just be listening. So if you're listening while you're driving, make sure you can't see your screen. And thank you for listening. It's good to have you here. We know you're here in spirit if you can't be here in person. And look who showed up tonight. Well, my screen froze. Come on. There it goes. Chris Bollinger says, hello and good night. I just parked up. All right, man. He's usually in bed by 8 o'clock, so it's way past his bedtime. Thank you for stopping in tonight, though. Newman Attack channel member, I'm dying here. I made myself laugh out loud with the Amtrak one. William Scooby, so what's up with the fly rabbit blocked me? So he went on kind of a blocking spree and blocked lots of people for little to no reason. And some of them were people he had been friends with for a long time, and they're kind of offended. And it's the whole thing's kind of a mess. I don't want to comment too far on it. I guess you could ask him why he's blocking a lot of people, but let's just say a lot of people have been blocked for little or no reason. On this channel, you got to screw up pretty bad to get blocked. And let's go over the rules one more time. Let's try to keep it clean in here. I got grandkids and family that watch. My preacher even watches sometimes. Um, and it's a monetized channel. I don't want to get demonetized. So let's try to keep it clean. It's okay to disagree with me. If I say something you disagree with, let me know. Give me your perspective. But let's keep it respectful. Let's not start name calling and go down that road. And mainly, let's just come in here and have a good time. Let's not bully or intimidate any of the other commenters. Everybody's entitled to their opinion. And if they don't agree with me, they already know they're wrong. I'm joking, y'all. Anyway, yeah, that's what's going on there. All right, folks, the comments have dried up. I hate to leave because we got 28 people still in here hanging out. So, anything else y'all want to discuss tonight before I check out? Robbie Ross, channel member moderator. Can you get blocked if you've never been on a different channel? Just asking. I don't think so. I think you have to go on a channel to be blocked. Well, no, you could actually go to, like, I could go to the Robbie Ross YouTube page, and there's an option to block you there, but I don't know why anybody would do that if you've never been on their channel. Typically, is it raining? Typically, somebody says something you don't like on a channel and they'll block you. They don't go out shopping for people to block. And I want people in here, even people that disagree with me. I recently went back and unblocked everybody that was blocked except for like 2 people. And so it was to give people a chance to say what they think and to share their opinion. Sorry, I got sidetracked for a minute. Channel member Newman, Chris Bollinger is the original P Master. I'll be honest, I don't even know what that means. I think I know, and I'm better off not knowing. You can tell me in group chat. Steve Given, why block people? America's about free speech. I do it on very rare occasions. We've had some people. We had a guy that came on here and he totally derailed the show and was totally disrespectful. Sometimes you've got to do it to keep the channel orderly and flowing in a direction. I would say if you feel like you need to do that, start your own YouTube channel. I like to have free flowing ideas and thoughts in here, and so that's what I would say about that. Sometimes it is necessary to block trolls and stuff, but it's rare. Usually, one of my moderators can give them a timeout for 2 or 3 minutes, and they can think about what they've said and how they behaved, and they'll decide to go a different way. Channel member moderator Robbie Ross, my YouTube is all music, lots of videos there. Yeah, there is. I watch some too when I'm parked. Matthew Miller, hello Todd, how are you doing? I'm doing all right, man. I kind of started this video ranting and raving about a few things, but since then I've kind of calmed down and things are better. This show's a good stress reliever. All right, I did that so you can see the like and subscribe. You can see I'm Trucker Todd, and we've been going 2 hours and 8 minutes. I'm getting ready to wind this sucker down, but I hate to do it if somebody else has got something to talk about. I don't like having that background up when I'm not at home. Let's see what else we got. I like this one. Looks like I'm sitting in like the third or fourth story of a building. Newman Attack channel member, in all seriousness, if someone wants to lease a truck and run the spot market, let's talk. There you go. Yeah, if you've already got a truck and you want to run the spot market, holler at me. If you want to lease a truck and run the spot market, talk to Newman Attack. Yeah, channel member, by the way, and he'll get you squared away. Throw your email in the comments or email your information to me and I'll pass it along to him. Alrighty, with that, I guess we're going to get on out of here. You guys have a great night. Let me irritate the trolls real quick. Y'all have a good night. I'm out of here.
And this is why I do this, why I'm out here, why I keep that hammer down. Flying by these road signs with home on my mind, with these wheels turning round. For my family and for my kids, for this life I wanna live. And this is why